Dr. Nabil, work-life balance. This is a theme that's being brought up very heavily since COVID, I'll say. It's been over the years before that too. I want to get your take on the big picture, and maybe you could give us some you could give us some details. How do we, is there a balance? Is this even a conversation, right? Because when you think about it, we say work life, right? To me, they're not at the same level because work is part of life. It's not your entire life. And you don't have to balance like something that's part of your life with your entire life. You have to somehow like integrate work in your life.
Mm.
So you could live outside of work too. So I like to get your take on the whole entire concept and how do we find this happy medium, this harmony, right? Between our lives while at work and our lives outside of work.
Well, one of the things that for people who were remote working at the beginning of the pandemic is the boundary between work and home diluted. And now I know that's not as much of an issue for rental property staff because so many folks are on site. So there is work and then you leave work. Um, but I think one key thing, to the extent that you can, is protect your boundaries. Being mindful about emailing your team after hours. And I understand there are parts, some groups, some team members have those responsibilities, but hopefully those are not like you work a full day and then you're on call every night. Hopefully those kinds of things are shifted between different people, different parts of your team. Trying to respect the boundaries of your time as well as your team's time. So I'm thinking about managers who manage teams. The other thing I think about is creating rituals for the end of your work. So if you think about your commute home is the decompression period you have. And so, many people who have long commutes listen to music, podcasts, talk to a friend, right? You call a friend on the phone when they're commuting as well. You could do those kind of things. I think that's a great time for deep breathing. I think that's also a great time for just sort of for calm and quiet. Sort of getting yourself in the right space to be able to enter home. Another strategy that I think is really important for work-life balance, in general, actually for all of mental health, is mindfulness. Practicing mindfulness. You could call it meditation, but it doesn't need to have a spiritual component. It could just be mindfulness is really about noticing your senses, quieting your thoughts and noticing your senses. What do you see? What do you hear? What can you touch? What can you taste? What can you smell? Practicing that for 5 to 15 minutes, that's like a CrossFit exercise for your brain. It really is helpful at sort of slowing those thoughts down. It's hard when you have like a lot of responsibilities, like being a parent. So, in those circumstances, you try to squeeze it in when you can, but it may be just like a couple minutes of deep breathing while you're in the car. But I think trying to find time to sort of slow things down and then give you that space between work and home to the extent that you can.